An IKEA Godmorgon vanity for a bathroom. On this application, it's going into a bathroom being renovated. Quite a smaller space than normal, so space is limited here. On this one, I needed a vanity that I knew would correspond with a medicine cabinet that was a 30-inch recessed, which I'm picking up right here. I used the Kohler. Feel free to use the IKEA if you want. I just use the Kohler because I'm familiar with installing these ones and they're pretty straightforward. In this case, if you went to standard manufacturers, they would have had for this a 30-inch vanity underneath. What IKEA does is they pick up a 31-inch base, which makes a lot of sense, so that on the corresponding ends where the fasteners are attached to the wall, which I'm pointing to right here on each of these things, at 31 you can pick up each corresponding stud being 16 inches on center, so each of these studs would be 31 inches out for you to put the fastener on. And this one, I knew I was going to use this vanity, so I also secured a mounting plate against the wall. I also put in the waistline, which was 1.5 inches, and you got to be careful on these ones because of the drawers on here. There's drawers that go into each one of these. You don't have a lot of room in the back of these to land your water or waistlines. You're literally down to a 4-inch gap back in here. As you can see off of where the back of the drawer would be, you don't have a lot of room here. You've got 4 inches, not a lot of room. This is a difficult installation at best. On this case, you can see I put a mounting plate, or you can't see it, it's behind the wall. There's a mounting plate behind here. The mounting plate allows me to secure anywhere onto the wall as often as I need it to. On top of it, I've got the mounting end brackets. IKEA asked for this to be installed either 28 7/8 or 29. On this you can see I'm 29 7/8 to the wall here, to the top line, which the fastener is attached right into. Very straightforward. Making this a little bit easier, knowing I was going to use this again, the waist and the water lines, they got to be tight, they got to be against the wall here. Under a different installation, or if you were just installing this in existing ones, you could bring the waist and the water lines up for the bottom. This case again, I didn't want to do that. I don't want to be able to see those water lines or the waist lines, and I want this to float off the side wall. So there's going to be no lags in this installation. IKEA does sell you lags if you do want them. I chose not to use them here. So let's go to mounting this and we'll pick this up. Okay, back to the installation. We know from what we talked about earlier, the vanity has to be 28 7/8 to 29 7/8. As you go to the top line right here, you'll see that top line is 29 7/8. I just chose to go for the higher install rather than the lower. And keep in mind, the higher install also takes in place that drain line again, which is in the wall. Whether you have a drain in the wall or not in the wall will depend on what your installation is. On installing this, I always chose to use a good fastener. This is a Deckmate number 9. It's steel, it is zinc plated, it has got a cut head so that when it drives into a stud or into wood, it doesn't split it. You need it to secure the whole thing onto the wall. Again, we're talking about a vanity here, 2 drawers, a lot of weight. There are no supporting front legs on this, so all the weight of this will be held off the back band and the end clips that IKEA provides here. I use a very good fastener. Use a good fastener. If you don't have it, stop, go out and get one. Do not use a drywall screw. A drywall screw is for drywall, typically 50 pounds or less. You're talking a lot of weight here if it's loaded up, plus someone leaning on it could be even more weight. So make sure you've got it secured to the wall. This being a little different, if you have the choice, put a board behind your drywall so you got something secured onto if you're doing a full remodel. Again, make sure you're low enough for your drain, your water lines. You don't want to interfere with that. Let's attach this. We'll show you how this goes. Pretty straightforward. Attaching clip is serrated on this side. It's got the grooves which will fit right into the grooves on that and really bite it into the wall. So all you're looking at doing is taking your fastener. I know my stud is right there on that sidewall from my top installation, so all I will do is drill right in and pick up that stud right into the wall, and I can feel it grabbing right here. So what I'm going to do is drive that right in close to it. Take my retaining clip on, it slides right over on top of it. Line it up with some grooves. It doesn't matter where you are as long as you are on the grooves. Take my ratchet again, drive it right in. That one went a little far. Again, take the bracket out there, put it on, and drive it. Perfect. It's nice. What IKEA makes here is a very nice mounting clip. Do you see how this fastener has just gripped and pulled the whole unit right against it? Couldn't be better. It really does work out nice what they have here. And again, as we're saying, studs 16 inches on center would push the out ones out to 31. Okay, next step. We know we're secured and attached to the wall. Next step after this is to put the bowl on top of this vanity. Good idea here would be to dry fit it once, and I'll walk you through that and everything that we're looking for. This again is a unit from IKEA. It fits it makes sense, it goes with their vanity, well made. I like it. I haven't used this in the past, but so far everything I see on it I like. Taking a look underneath, again you can see what we're looking at underneath here. We're looking at a very tight fit. That's why they make a special drain assembly that goes with this thing. We're going to be in good position, I think, to make all these connections, and I will walk you through all of this. So we'll continue on. So after dry fitting, I've mounted the faucet, which is going to be not a IKEA faucet. Chose a Moen one. It will match what's in the shower, of course, so matching faucets. There's all the parts for the drain assembly, which is unique on the IKEA because they flatten out a drain here. And let me go through this installation so you can see how this is put together. Okay, all the parts come from IKEA. You've got a drain assembly, as I mentioned, flat assembly. They make it flat so this second drawer has full movement in there. Very unique, you don't see that often. Overflow, you can bring in the top either side, real easy. You punch it out and decide where it is. Overflow, looks like an old plumber's hose here, but pretty much just goes on there, goes to the overflow, which again fits on there. That goes in. There's a set of directions that'll show you this. This is the overflow for the sink. Again, very straightforward here. This will get brought right into here. They give you a tool to assemble it with. Again, not that difficult. Overflow goes on. You've got your drain pipe. You'll choose what side to bring it onto, which I'll show you in a second. Real simple. You've got a drain assembly, which will come back in. difficult. Everything's gasketed off. Makes sense? That'll work in like any normal P-trap. This will go into the wall, as I mentioned before. You've got to be so tight here. You're within 4 inches of where this top drawer closes. So the installation against the wall in this case has got to be, all of this has got to be within 4 inches. It's extremely tight. These are all adjustable, so going under wherever your sink's going to be, it'll just adjust right into place. You have a push-up stopper coming in from the top of the sink, really straightforward. Unfortunately, you can't use the Moen. You've got to use the IKEA one because it fits into the drain assembly. So I'm going to change the angle here so you can see how this goes. Okay, so we're back to the drain assembly. A couple things were done off camera. The only 2 things done off camera was I shortened the length on this, cut this on the saw, and I also shortened the length on this other piece, on this other tail assembly piece. Real straightforward. Those will be discarded. They're not used anymore. So what we'll do is walk you through reassembling the whole drain assembly here. This is the RINNEN drain assembly that comes with the top bowl with this from IKEA. Pretty straightforward. They do all their stick people here. They'll show you how to put it together. No reason to go through any language because they do it all just visually. If you get lost at all, the biggest help on this, go right to the front page. Every washer, every gasket is shown where to put it. I'll walk you through it. It's pretty straightforward, 1.5 inches. Again, the nice thing about this is they flatten out this top drain piece, which allows the top drawer to go in here and gives you all the movement so that it can slide in and slide out. So real quick, we haven't knocked out the knockouts for the overflow that I showed you how to put on in an earlier step because we're going to wait, we're going to dry fit, and we're going to knock out the knockout that's going to make this work the easiest. So you can either come in the top or either side. You knock those out the same way you do on a garbage disposal. Once you know where you want it, knock it out and then put the hose on it. Back to the drain assembly. What I've done is put 1 mal 1.5 inch fitting on here with a gasket with a coupling which will accept the end piece of the P-trap. P-trap, what we did in the last step, again, it goes right back together. Gasket on there. Back into the bottom of the P-trap. Slide it in. I've already pre-cut that so I know where that's going. This piece will slide right down onto here. Pretty straightforward. Coupling goes on, gasket goes on. If you have any trouble, remember those gaskets, they point down. You can see they're beveled, okay? Gives you the tight seal so no water leakage. Goes back in. We're just going to, again, we're dry fitting. Pull this back together. This will go back in. That's where it goes. It's so simple because what they've done, they've allowed this to be flexible also where you can see you can adjust in and out with it. Can't get lost. Gasket goes right in on top of it. Again, very straightforward. IKEA gives you a couple other assembly pieces here. I am just going to temporarily put this on because I'm guessing this is the one we're going to go to, but I don't know yet. And I'm putting that back on. I'm going to tighten that up. Again, dry fitting only at this time. We're not making the permanent connection yet. I'm going to shrink this one down a little bit in size, as you can tell, to where it's leveled up. Real straightforward. They give you, it's got a cushion gasket here. They're not asking for plumber's putty, silicone, or anything. This is the way IKEA does it. I'm going to go with it. Typically, I would have plumbered puttied it or siliconed it in. They give you this foam gasket. It's already attached. This will go right down inside the drain. Again, we're going to tighten that up. They give you a tool with IKEA. One side of it is for the overflow. This side of it is to assemble the drain. Go right in the top. Again, tighten it right up. You can see where it tightens up, and the drain has tightened right up into that. This is our overflow. Overflow assembly. Goes behind the bowl up there. There's that. We're going to take this, come right up, right in, and we're going to take the back side of that tool and screw that right in. As you can see, and here's a closer view of it, looking at it underneath, you can see how all the drain assembly's in here right now. I haven't connected the overflow tube yet, but you can see it's in the top, the drain assembly's on the top here. There's the tool out. So now I will dry fit that overflow hose into where the top of the drain is and see what way it works the best without kinking this black tube. You don't want to kink this. You want the ability for water to flow through it. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, to give you a better view of how this works, I've put the top drawer back in. IKEA's designed this they're all slotted, and I think the idea of it, what IKEA says, is for air movement. The other nice thing about this is the fact that if you ever need to make a cut, it'd be very easy to cut into this drawer to accompany old plumbing, whatever it be, water or drain connections. Everybody's going to be working with something different. That's the problem with all these. Whether your drain's coming up from the floor, some people have that, and they're trying to tie into that. Other people stuff off the back of it. It's nice. You could cut this if you needed to without really affecting the structural integrity of the door. This is where it fits in. As you can see, this is what I kept saying. It's so close back in here. I said it was 4 inches. We're actually 3.5 inches before the drain assembly hits the back of the door here, or the drawer. Underneath, you can see where it's adjustable, and this is where it'll come up and pick up the bottom of the sink bowl. Extremely straightforward. Wanted you to see how it's going to work there. Let's get to the next part, actually mounting it, and now we're done dry fitting. We are going to mount this at this point and not take it off again. So we know that our overflow is going to come to this side. I'm going to take this off, knock it out. Same way you do as I mentioned with a guard spool. So you got to take a screwdriver in it and just knock it out. The plastic cap will come out. That's where we're going to feed the overflow into it, and we're going to seal this down. IKEA calls for silicone. I like to use just 100% product, you know what I mean? Whatever you have is good as long as it's silicone. Don't use caulk, because we are going to silicone the whole outside rim, and we're going to silicone the unit right against the wall here also to take care of or prevent any splashing or water getting down behind it. Okay, as I mentioned, we're done dry fitting. We're going to go for permanent connections now with the P-trap and with the water lines. We are going to silicone the top of this bowl onto the vanity. As I told you, 100% silicone. We're going to go around the outside edge. We're going to go across the back of the bowl, and we're going to let this thing sit. As I mentioned, a heavy bead of silicone around the whole base of the vanity on top. As I also mentioned, a heavy bead of silicone across the back of the bowl. Now we're just going to set this in place. We're about a half overlay on each side of it, which totally makes sense because it's a 31. And we're just going for a real strong adhesive right against the wall. Again, you'll see some of the silicone push out, leave it. Cut it the following day. IKEA says give it 3 hours. I say let it sit overnight. It is going to adhere right to the unit as well as the wall. Leave it alone. Tomorrow, the next day, come by, cut the silicone out. It'll look like $1,000,000. Okay, while the silicone's setting up, we're going to make our final connections underneath. Before we dry fitted everything, so everything's loose, we're going to go and tighten everything up now. Here's our overflow. We've already got that hooked on. We know we're going to go right in the side port. We've knocked the knockout out. As I mentioned, that goes right in. We'll go back. We'll pick this back up and go right back underneath where it's going to meet up with the trap that we dry fitted before. That'll go right back in. And you saw that go in before. Use the tool again. And I'm going to take a little pressure off this. Perfect. Let that swing a little. And you can see right about where it wants to go, right there. Tightening that up, tighten all the connections up. All you've got to do is go by hand here. There's no reason to go any tighter than hand. There's no reason to put a wrench on it. They're all gasketed. Done. All we've got to do is put the pop-up in, and again, that's real straightforward also. It's tapped right there. It accepts that. That's going to go right in the top, which will allow it to let the bowl hold water when it needs to. We'll put the drawers in, and we'll be done here in a minute. Okay, drawers are back in. Everything closes, check everything, all clearances, vanity done.